With the knee, we are driving the knee as far past the toes as we can. A lot of people, when you get into things like squats or split squats, anything like that, you're gonna hear don't push your knees past your toes, but you wanna be able to push your knees past your toes. One of the reasons is when we push our knees past our toes, we're gonna get Hey everyone, Steven here from Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to squat by taking you through some squat regression. Specifically, we are going to be demonstrating the front foot elevated split squat. The squat is one of the best exercises that you can perform, and it's a movement pattern that you perform on a daily basis. Every single time you go to stand up or sit down, you are squatting. Every single time you go to drop the Browns off at the Super Bowl, you are squatting. Every single time you go to get into your car, you are essentially doing a pistol squat with a lateral shift and a twist. It is one of the 7 primal patterns, along with pushing, pulling, bending, lunging, twisting, and gait. Unfortunately, one of the problems that most people either don't know how to squat properly or they lack the proper mechanics in their hips, knee, or ankles, and they have some type of dysfunction in that area. So if you are somebody that can't squat properly, or if you have problems in any one of those areas, these squat regressions would be an excellent way for you to be able to learn how to squat. The front foot elevated split squat is going to be the next progression to the kneeling squat. If you haven't seen the kneeling squat video and this one's too difficult, I'm going to include a link right up over here to that one. But basically, with the front foot elevated split squat, you want to get a step and you want to get it as high as your mid shin. In terms of the actual exercise itself, I'm going to have Cassandra place her foot on the step, but you want whatever foot is forward on the step, you're going to be driving the knee as far past the toes. And with the back leg, you want to make sure that your toes are pointing straight ahead. And I'm going to have Cassandra just move a little bit more back. You want to get a nice stretch in the front of the hip. Now, with regard to this exercise right over here, we want to try and maintain extension of the knee and hip when we are performing this exercise. And as I stated earlier, with the knee, we are driving the knee as far past the toes as we can. A lot of people, when you get into things like squats or split squats, anything like that, you're going to hear don't push your knees past your toes, but you want to be able to push your knees past your toes. One of the reasons is when we push our knees past our toes, we're going to get greater recruitment of the quadricep group, and that is one of the things that we want to do when performing this exercise. Another thing worth noting is we want to maintain the retroversion of the pelvis. Shoulder blades, you want to keep them nice and retracted. The chin is going to be tucked in. The crown of the head is up toward the sky. With the eyes, you're looking down toward the floor to put the dura mater under tension. And what we're going to do from this position is Cassandra is just going to drive her knee as far past her toes as possible without leaning forward. So right now she's leaning forward a little bit. So I'm going to have her come back to the starting position. And I'm just going to place 2 fingers at the clavicle and 2 hands at the posterior superior iliac spine to make sure that she maintains a neutral spine. So again, I'm going to have her just lean forward and drive her knees as far past the toes as possible. And then come back up. We're going to have her do 1 more repetition. And come back up. And this is the front foot elevated split squat. As with other exercises that we've done in the past, we can also play around with different foot positions, and by doing that, we can target specific fibers in the different quadricep groups. If you recall, the 3 main quadriceps with regard to knee extension are going to be Vastus medialis, Vastus intermedius, and Vastus lateralis. The rectus femoris is also a quadricep muscle, but that one, it also crosses the hip joint. So aside from being a knee extensor, it is also going to be responsible for hip flexion. With regard to the 3 main knee extensors, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to have Cassandra demonstrate this one from the front, but if we want to target the Vastus lateralis, Cassandra's going to put her foot onto the step. We want to go into medial rotation of the tibia, just slight medial rotation. When we're working on the Vastus lateralis, this one, it is very, very sensitive. So if you go into too much medial rotation, it's going to place a lot of torque on the Vastus lateralis. So we're just going to place a slight amount of medial rotation, about 5 to 10 degrees. Same thing with the foot position. Cassandra's going to move her foot back. The toes, she wants them pointing straight ahead. Everything else is exactly the same. The hip is going to be in retroversion of the pelvis. We're going to maintain the chin tucked in, shoulder blades are held back, crown of the head is pushing up, and she's looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension. From this position, she's going to do the exact same motion. She's going to drive her toes as far, or drive her knee as far past her toes as she can while maintaining an upright position. There we go. And I'm going to do a couple more repetitions. And this variation right over here is the front foot elevated split squat. Specifically, we are going to place a little bit more emphasis on the vastus lateralis fibers. Now, if we wanted to target more the vastus medialis is the most medial. So if we go into external rotation of the tibia, we're going to create greater myofascial tension on the medial aspect of the femur, which is going to allow for greater recruitment of the vastus medialis fibers. So we are going to perform the exact same exercise. The only difference is now we're going to go into lateral rotation of the tibia. So I'm going to have Cassandra place her foot on the step. Her back leg, she's going to extend it a little bit further back. And then with regard to the foot, we are going to go into external rotation, and everything else is exactly the same. So the pelvis is in the retroversion, shoulders are held back, the chin is tucked in, crown of the head is up, eyes are looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension, and she is going to drive her knee as far past her toes as possible to get greater recruitment of the vastus medialis. And that is the front foot elevated step up specifically to target the vastus medialis fibers. With regard to these three different positions, generally, most people are going to be strongest when their foot is straight ahead, and that's going to be targeting the vastus intermedius and the rectus femoris. When you go into medial rotation, a lot of people, they're going to be very weak when they're targeting the vastus lateralis, and same thing with the vastus medialis. When you go into external rotation, a lot of people are going to be a lot weaker there, but you can try out these three different variations, see where you are weakest, and that is going to be the best exercise for you to start with. Again, when you are focusing on the vastus lateralis, just slight rotation, 5 to 10 degrees. You don't want to go too much because it's going to place a lot of torque on the actual knee. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.